Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all of you today for this insightful session. This session is about navigating the semiconductor landscape, opportunities and challenges for startup organized by CrAdLE, which is an incubation center of EDII Ahmedabad. Uh, this session is in partnership with Youthstory, which is a platform for all the young innovators. I am host for you today. I'm Harsh Rajput, and I'm very thrilled to see you all joining for this session. I see a lot of people have already joined on the YouTube live. So today the discussion is about the semiconductor, which is the heart of the technology, and this is a very fascinating thing about all the startups that may uh, to make their mark. We have a very truly exceptional speakers today. Uh, and, we have a speaker, Sanjeeb Mishra sir. Sanjeeb Mishra sir is a associate director at R&D at L&T Semiconductor and brings a wealth of experience. He have 30 years of experience in design, associate design and test engineering, including time at the industry giants like Intel, STMicroelectronics, and Western Digital. He's also even author of a book, System on Cheap Load Power Design. And we are incredibly fortunate to have him share his expertise. So I'd like to welcome Sanjeev Mishra, sir. Thanks for joining, sir.
Thank you, Harsh, and good afternoon and good evening to all of you. A very, and it is a very fortunate moment for me to come to you and talk to you about this fascinating field. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Harsh.
also like to, sir, invite a representative from CrAdLE as well. We have Dhruv sir, from CrAdLE. So I'd like to, Dhruv sir, also invite Sanjeev Mishra sir to the panel. Dhruv sir, you are not audible actually.
I'm so sorry. Thank you, Hers, for inviting me and for coordinating for this session. Good evening, all. Thank you, Sanjay sir, for joining with us. Good evening, all participants. I'm Dhruv Patel, Incubation Manager at CrAdLE. I would just like to give a brief about CrAdLE as an incubation center, and then I would like to give a stage to Sanjeev Mishra, sir. CrAdLE is a center for advancing and launching enterprise, a technology business incubator promoted by Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India and catalyzed by DST Government of India. We have started our operation in 2016 to support the startup. So basically, we are supporting technology-related startups through different resources such as mentoring, networking access, and funding access to the startup. We have currently state government and central government funding schemes where the startups can leverage the funding opportunities, and they can also connect with us as an to access our mentoring panel and networking opportunities. So basically, we are sector agnostic, but our major focus areas is manufacturing, healthcare, and the agri and food related line sectors. Till date, we have 130 plus startup incubated with us since last 7-8 years, and so on. So with that, I would like to thank Sanjeev Mishra sir for accepting our invitation and join with us. Without wasting much time, I would like to invite sir to continue the session. Thank you, sir.
Uh, Namaskar, Dhruvji. Thank you, Dhruvji, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. If you give me permission, can I start? And can you let me know if my screen is visible?
Yes, sir. We can start. Yes, your screen
Okay.
is
Yes, I'm
visible.
your screen, sir.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I will start. So as the topic said, navigating the semiconductor landscape, the challenge for me is definitely, I don't know the audience. That's my, and this is my first, uh, talk at CrAdLE. So maybe a interactive session would help me navigate to understand what is the interest and other thing. But uh, from my understanding about what present ecosystems are and where different startups are trying to plug into this field, definitely this is a very exciting field for all of us in India. And as someone say that semiconductor is a oil of tomorrow, right? And that tomorrow is not very far. I will show and present some data. So let me start. A brief about myself. So presently, I am with L&T Semiconductor and as associate director and R&D. And as many of you might know, L&T is also a startup. right? A semiconductor, and this is the first company in India to own and make its own semiconductor. The many companies that you see in India in the semiconductor field are basically the extended arm of all the multinationals, but nothing is there as of today which you can say is an Indian semiconductor company. So L&T is going to be the first. Initially it is going to be the fabless, maybe little down the line there are also plan to have fab. So that's what I am presently with my past experience in companies like Intel, STMicroelectronics, Western Digitals. You might be have heard about these companies, and I will also say a little bit about the ecosystem. There you will come to know about more of the companies, and as I explain, right, what are these companies doing, will come to know and find or figure out where are the opportunities for the startup to plug in, right? And a brief about my contact. So I will be open to all of you who you can send me email, get connected over my LinkedIn, and I am ready to answer any questions. If I don't know, I will be just say don't know, right? But I am never irritated with any amount of questions that come to me. That's with that I will go to the next page and see what it is. So before I start, right, so again, for the all the entrepreneurs, right, all the entrepreneurs, I will just say that, these are the word I use. Wisdom has no logic. So when you say that someone has a lot of wisdom, whether it's logical or not logical, but we somewhere our logic is in the guts, right? Sometimes the brain moves down to the gut, right? And if it is successful, we call it as a wisdom. If it is not successful, you can call it as a foolish decision, right? So that's what I will say. That's that wisdom. So we have to, and also wisdom is situational. The wisdom that you apply in certain situation may not be applicable in all the situation. So be cautious, be apply the wisdom where it is necessary. And the wisdom for me, when I see basically, I am not an entrepreneur, frankly speaking. So that's the reason. Whatever, I have been into this industry for almost 3 decades now. I have seen businesses going up and down, somebody starting, some big companies going up and doing not so doing well, not so doing. So take all these inputs, right? And I will give you the input. But frankly speaking, I am not an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a very, very different game, and it requires a guts, which is very different, right? Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. So with these 4 words, I will start, right? So I will say that where is the business? The business is everywhere, right? In life, and everywhere where there is a problem, there is someone to solve the problem. When you solve that problem, there is a business. And that's true for semiconductor also. So semiconductor is everywhere in the life. So I have given few of the things. Today, we uh, no one in India, it's said that an average person is surrounded by 5 processor, whereas in advanced countries this is said to be where they are surrounded by 20 processor, and it's going to be getting higher and higher. So if you see around it at any instant of time, even in the remote area of India right now, they are said to be surrounded by 4 to 5 processors around them. And we who are in the city dwellers and who are into these industries, we find it everywhere, and we are surrounded by minimum, in advanced country it is 20 processor they are surrounding. So if my headphone is there, it is a processor. The laptop that I am talking, the mobile I am talking, right, the microwave I am, the everything is, there are so many areas. So let's not go into, I think the audience here who has come, they are quite aware of these things, and that's where the interest is coming on. So it is everywhere and nobody can deny it, right? It is everywhere. And so this is the, I will say, right, this is a very favorite, if someone asks me where is, semiconductor and electronics. So if you see the modern day car, right, earlier the car some 50 years ago or maybe 30-40 years ago also, the electronics was very, very minimal. It was all mechanical things. And now with last 3 to 4 years, with all this EV and other things, I think mechanical have gone down. It is now full of electronics. When you say electronics, is it just the semiconductor? No, it's a beyond semiconductor also. Cabling, harnessing, testing, right? You have to test all these things. So everything that the car looks like that. Similarly, when someone says, this is another example in the defense sectors. If someone says that today's defense is made up of explosives, right? You can see over here what a missile is and how much portion of the missile is electronics and semiconductor, right? So there is no brainer to say that electronics is everywhere. And if something is everywhere, right, how can we miss it? We have to grab it and get our revenue out of it. So this is one of the slides that it's sometime also, as Shani says, one when they say that, okay, where is electronics? Electronics and semiconductor is, when we say electronics, it is invariantly means semiconductors, right? So it is everywhere in our life, right? There is no place you can say that it is not there. Right. So let's say now let's come to India. Why it is very important and what we have to do. So as you know that as AI and other things, right, artificial intelligence is coming up, right, and the backbone of artificial intelligence is definitely semiconductor is there, and also from the trade perspective, you see if I take the general trade in India, right now, I have just given some of the countries. So sorry. So some of the country on the left hand side, which are giving in feeding India, right, and some of the exports that we are doing, we see there is a trade deficit, right? And we all know, right, we are a developing nation. We are so, and you can see which are the countries who are giving more to us, and so where from which countries those trade deficit are. So mostly it is China, right? And every few countries everywhere. This is the United States. You can see the blue one. So this shows that it is now who contribute to this trade deficits, right? Definitely, I think the first point somebody will say the oil, right? But let's see that oil is definitely a one big thing, right? So if you see over here this graph, we say that where is where we are importing more and more. So definitely this is the oil portion, the mineral fuel 25%, right? Then gems and precious metal, okay. Then this is 13%. But here gems and precious metal, I would take it with a pinch of salt, saying that are these only for our by the way, I am not an economist, so please take this again, my words, just for the point I'm trying to explain. Not that this data and other things are, sacrosanct, but yeah, please take this as indicators. So gems and precious metal, we are importing huge and processing it and then exporting. So I have not given the export data, but then export data, gem and precious metal are also a little bit exported. So that balances out. But definitely also we have a lot of consumption of gold that we are not able to meet and we are importing it. But then comes this electrical machineries and other things, right? So electrical machineries means we will see where are those electrical machineries, right? And mostly you will see that it is coming down to electronics item only. Sorry, I will go to the previous slide. So you can see this one, right? So there is a report given by Reuters that India's electronic import bill could surpass oil, right? So it can very well surpass the oil import for 2 3 reasons. Definitely EV is going in a big way. That's one of the things. So maybe there is some cut in the oil import, but then on top of it, definitely we are importing electronics also, huge and huge electronics. If today, what is the trend, if we keep on following this trend without doing anything, right, it is going to surpass the import. So huge population, rising economy of India, and with this rising economy and consumption of electronics is becoming manifold. You can see what is your consumption of electronics that is happening, right? Every child, everybody is having mobile. There are only in the cities, I think there will be very few people, right, of the urban middle class, where every person in the home is not having mobile or a headphone or some electronic gadget, or even the children toys, right? They are now becoming electronics. It is no longer mechanotronics that used to be when we were child, right? But right now it is all mostly electronics. So yeah, so we know the importance of electronics now. From now, as we said, right, we were seeing the fiscal deficit. We saw that China was a very big contributor of our, our trade imbalance. And what we see from the China, what we are importing over here, you can see the last one, almost 34.5% is, electrical. This under these categories, right? This is, categorized by the Ministry of Commerce. So we don't have any electronic specific category. So this, and here it is mostly electronics only. So this much import is happening from China as of today. So definitely, if we have to be self-reliant, not only it is an economic factor nowadays, right? As I have shown you the missile, as I have shown you the automotive, right? Our whole defense system, our not only the economic, the amount of a nation's wealth. What are the nation's wealth, right? And what are the nation's defense, and what are the everything is now electronics dependent, right? So it is not only the economically we are losing out, we are also in danger of getting influenced if we don't develop our own semiconductor, right? We have so many fighter planes, so many things, right? In defense, everything is controlled by electronics. One simple part, maybe even a very small chip, or maybe 10 rupees, if the supply, there are some areas, right, not, if that is stopped, right, if your enemy comes to know that this particular supply is given by only one companies, and there are many such part, right? And we have seen in 2022 post COVID that how the automotive market was stuck, right? Nobody was able to make car worldwide, not only in India, because the supply chain broke down, right? The supply chain of the car and the price of the car from that onward only shooted up, because nobody was able to manufacture car because the electronic supply was stopped. Similarly could happen in the future. So we have to have the supply chain under our own control, and we also have to economically see that what makes value for us. uh, so this is what the point that we are seeing, that from where we are to China. From China mostly we are importing electronics, right? So we have to develop, we have no choice for the future but to develop electronics. And electronics means semiconductors. Now let's see, pardon me, because again I said in the beginning that I'm not very much aware of who are the audiences, so where I should go and what are the things. Maybe I will stop for a minute and see if someone has some questions, if I am going right, or else maybe later. So please, if someone has some question, uh, I can take those up and see where I can place those questions. Okay, so let me start, right? So we know worldwide who are the big companies, right? Nvidia, everyone knows, right? Probably everyone has heard of Nvidia, right? It has suddenly shoot, and we all know Nvidia because of the AI innovation which is running on the GPU. So Nvidia was making only GPU, right? The graphic processor unit. But then suddenly the GPU found its use in the okay, I got that questions. Yeah, so I will come to this. Start off. So there is a question that what are the biggest challenges startup might face while trying to enter semiconductor industry. Yeah, let us understand the whole objective for me is to explain you what is the canvas of the semiconductor industry, and then we can see what are the challenges that startup can face and see, right? So you will have challenges with these giants, right? But are these challenges, if we understand the challenge, can we overcome? Yes, we can overcome. Well, let's understand, right? And you can see how what is the revenue of these companies, right? 240 ASML, right? Many of you have you heard about ASML? See, we heard about Nvidia because of the GPU. We heard about TSMC because this is a very big manufacturer. We know Samsung because of the phone, right? uh, Broadcom, they are leaders in communications and other ICs. Similarly, Intel, processors. So there are many company. AMD, again, Intel and AMD are twin brothers at making the CPUs. Uh, and then we have Qualcomm. They are chipset manufacturer mostly for the mobile. Applied Materials are there. Texas Instruments, Micron, which is a lot known for memories. There are so many companies, and you can see the amount of revenue they have, 77 billion, right? And 87. So you can see the revenue that are there, right? And all these revenues are, mostly coming from the Silicon Valley things. But there are some companies you see there which are, very, very critical to the supply chain. Say, for example, ASML. Makes, I will go into the later feature where ASML makes a very, very critical component that is required for this industry. If you remove this company, probably many of this company will collapse, right? So there are some companies who has made certain things which they are very, very difficult to, remove them. So these are the companies, right? So now let's see where we lie in India, right? We have been developing nations, right? And just cribbing about we are not the trade deficit and things will not help us. So we have to understand where we are in terms of, our electronics production and other things. You see, many companies, right? India, China, Taiwan, USA, South Korea, Singapore, even Vietnam, right? Everybody is producing, right? And India is how much it is global. Its position is what, right? We are producing just 2% of what is required by the global electronic industry, right? So we have to gear up. We have no choices now, right? If we don't want to become again a slave, right? Maybe 100 years down the line, we have to have this area. We have to have start manufacturing, and definitely entrepreneurs like you guys will have to pitch in, and there are enough scopes. I will look at to those scopes and I will tell you that. But this is the reality. So if there is very less, what does it say? It say that it is a India is a big market. I will talk about that, how much in a market, and how do we buy share, right? A share which is very good but is in a low, right? We will always definitely go and buy it, right? So this is the right time. So India is not there, and there is a huge push to go there. We will go and fill in the banks, and it is a huge opportunity of all those who are in India. India is a big market, right? And when there is a big market, there is a place for everyone. So instead of getting bogged down by this figure that, oh, we are not there, right? We are just 2%, right? We have to see that there's a huge opportunity. Because there is a gap, right? We are not producing much, so we can produce much. Okay. So this is why I have given you this figure. This is about the Indian economy, right? It's nothing to do with the manufacturing. But then if you see where the manufacturing bases are, right? You can see mostly on the southwestern part of India. We have a lot of manufacturing bases, right? And few over here, right? So this gives that this region of India is, and where there is manufacturing, you need electronics, not only for the manufacturing sector, because manufacturing means people have money to spend, consumer will rise, right? There is a need for infrastructure, there will be talent available. So these three pictures shows that everything is in will be in this region, correct? So you do, if you want to do anything, definitely you will need talent and infrastructure, right? And you will need money. So where there is manufacturing happening, there will be money, people will buy things. If you make, there will be problems to solve, so you will solve this problem and you will have a business over there. And similarly, you will have the talent pool over here. Okay, so this is just about the economy, nothing to do with the semiconductor. So this is the we are saying that India, rising consumption of electronic devices in India. Again, I am repeating the same point that for India, electronics is the next oil. So we have to be go there. Now, in semiconductor, two things we should differentiate. Now, this is a term that is seen over here: electronic system design and manufacturing, ESDM, right? So when we make a system or something, right? For example, laptop or maybe some car, right? These are the system, right? Or something, right? With the chip, then that part is called the ESDM. But when we talk about the chip manufacturing, that's a semiconductor. So both are very much tied to each other. So when you see that when our ESDM facilities are great and good, right? And when our consumption through ESDM will be there, the market for semiconductor will also be there. Okay, so I go over there. So this is again showing that we have a rise of 16.6% CAGR. That electronics, so TAM is totally increasing like crazy, right, in India. So this is what the figure shows, that we have so much of rise in electronics market. And when it indicates that people are ready to buy electronics product. If you give them a problem solving thing, right? If you give me whatever is the problem with my present headset, I don't know what is the problem is. Somebody has to identify it, right? So I am ready to spend. Similarly, if you give me a mobile phone which solves some of my problem, right? I am ready to give the money for that. Everybody. So this shows, and that's why India is growing like crazy, right? So electronics. Similarly, anybody in factory, right? If you solve their problem, similarly with software, right, which runs on top of these electronics chips, right? If you are able to solve some problem, right, and then that problem is people will be ready to give spend money for that. All in all, if you can identify a problem and solve it through electronics, you have a big chunk of pie to eat. That would be my take, right? Understanding all these things, the ministry. So this METI you should understand. So if you are an entrepreneur and if you are looking at electronics to see, definitely I will show you all the all the offerings that METI has for startup ecosystems, right? uh, but this ministry is hugely enabling the ecosystem in India. Okay, so as you can see that what is the target of METI by 2026, right? Electronic production in India to be 300 billion. Right now we are something around 100, right? This much we have to do. There are internal consumption as well as external consumption, right? And yeah, so this is where we lies over here, and there is a lot of support coming here. And whatever support, the whole of the ministry is there to support us in doing that. Now let's see what are the areas and where the present finished goods are consuming, right? You can say, and that this will give you an idea where you should intercept, right? Definitely mobile is a big market, and India is now, I think, world's second. I think 6 to 7 or 8 years ago we were nowhere, right? Huge. And now we are 17.1% of the market is mobiles in the world are being made in India. It's a huge, right? So that's what this is a percentage of and what are the spending in the this one consumer electronics. Sorry, 16% is not mobile mass. I think it is 16%. but this is the market share. Similarly, consumer electronics, right? So what are consumer electronics? Like TV, like your mixie, if it is electronic control. Now, in huge number, fans are coming, right? BLDC fans, right? There's a lot of electronics in the fans now. And if fans pick up in India, can you imagine? Right, 140 billion, 140 crores people. You average in India, average divide by 5 means so many family, right? And each is having one fan. And if that fan market pickups, right, the BLDC fan, can you imagine the market that India will have? So similarly, auto market, right? So auto market, in you can see the auto is now, as I have shown you in the beginning, right, all our now scooters, even the the petrol scooters, they are also getting fitted with electronics. Now you can always argue that these are for the big giants. Okay, they are for the big giant, but then there are spare markets, right? Not everybody is buying. Suppose you buy from Suzuki certain things in a scooter which they give, right? Or maybe, but then will be spares, right? So this indicates there is a huge spare market for the even for the automotive, right? Millions and billions of people are buying the cars, and in India, car is going to be everywhere. So I will talk about a concept called localization of market, right? So even if you don't have as great and great products, right, is in some of the areas like consumer and other things, right? But because of the local market condition, the local player have a huge big hands, right? And my suggestion will be, maybe you guys have more, you are into entrepreneurship, have more understanding than me. But what I see is that there is a huge amount of spare market, spare part market for this. So even though for the big electronics companies, we are not manufacturing automotive grade products, right? But there are spare market that need to be built up, right? Similar, this laptop, PCs, and other thing, but these are mostly in India. Lot of manufacturing and have already started for the laptops, right? A lot of low cost laptops are getting built in India now, so it's a good area. Telecom products, right? Telecom products, again, 5G is everywhere now. Everywhere someone wants small areas and other things. So these are so there are some areas where, based on your IT servers, definitely now India is going to become the next data center capital of the world, right? So there are a lot of things. Now when I say server, are we just going to make a server? Where is the business? The business is everywhere. When there is server, there will be server installation, there will be rack, there will be power supply to these servers, right? There will be monitoring of this server, there will be so many things are required. It's not a server is one piece, but beyond the server there will be AC, cooler, everything will be required around that. So if you know the ecosystem, if you can serve the ecosystem, and that's what I'm trying to give you today, that where are the ecosystem, figure out the ecosystem. Not necessarily that you have to be in that product, there can be accessories product around it, right? So even the rack system of the server, the iron rack, right, for the server to keep, that is a big market now in India. You just need to understand what is the spec of the server rack, what is the height, length, breadth, what the people are wanting. If you understand that, you can make that server rack for that. Similarly, the cable, power supply cables and other things. And definitely hearable and wearables are the big thing in India, right? Definitely we are a rising market. You will seldom find a person who is not having any hearable and wearable, right? So this is the present market scenario percentage I have shown you, and there will be more that I will be talking about. So now I have spoken about the product, the ESDM. Now there is also a push toward the chip, making the chip which will serve this market, right? So many of you might have seen this news article, right? That India is going to make a chip by mid of this year, and many of you, and these are the some of the schemes that government have launched. I think many of you who are in this areas are quite aware, and I will take you to the website of the METI, and you will see that, right? So production link scheme, which is a huge success in India, and because of this, we are now all, almost I think number two in the world in mobile manufacturing in just in just few years. Nobody could have imagined, right, how we can do it, right? Similarly, there is a push for, when these mobiles and other things are manufactured here, right? It's not just don't look at the mobile, look at the components, hundreds and others company that are supplying component to that, do those. Definitely there are, we are getting few things from China, still is the big supplier, but then lot of small companies are coming up in India, which is supplying to these companies, right? And yeah, so we have so many policies, the Metis website is full of policy. We'll go to that. Okay, maybe I will stop for some time over here till now if someone has any questions. So one question I got, one big challenge we will come up later on, that will be the last, because the big challenge, unless we understand the whole ecosystem, right, of this, we will not understand where the challenges could be. So let me just give you a brief understanding of the ecosystem. Any questions, or should I move ahead till so far? If someone, if the pace is okay, if someone wants some other directions. Okay, please type in your comments so that I can have a look at it. Okay, so these are the schemes. Again, we have spoken about so many electronic development. So somebody was asking me, what are the government scheme, right? I think n number of scheme, right? What you want to do, just you have to have the guts and start, put your first leg. The government is drawing, it's like an escalator effect, right? Many of you have heard there are certain things which is an escalator effect. You have, many of you have, stood on the escalator, right, at airport and other thing. What do? You put the first leg, right? You have no other option to go up, right? And that's what, the entrepreneurship in this is. People are scared, people are, but it is always, going up and up and up and up, and then you land up at a platform where you can start jumping more higher, right? So that's the escalator effect, and government is giving lot of initiative and helping. We'll see many other scheme that will help. So again there is a design DLI scheme, right, where you can design certain chips, certain things for India, and government is going to, give you financial incentives, right? I have given certain, so up to the, expenditure. You can see that, right? 50% eligible expenditure subject to the ceiling of 15 crores, right? So if you can just put you have a right sense of business and a right thing to say that I'm going to design, that government is doing. And government, if you go to government website, they are also saying, they are looking people to participate in these areas, right? So many areas are there. So these are some of the scheme. N number more are there. I will talk to them. So I have spoken about the success of this, right? In India, almost 16% of, $16 billion revenue we are there in the mobiles phone. This has come from the PLI incentive. Okay. So now this is a tagline, right? India consuming 99% of the made in India mobiles, right? So if someone says we cannot, right, this is the area we see India where the mobiles are getting, right? It is getting, the ESDM in India is so strong, so strong with manpower, with instruments, with technology, everything, that we are making 99% of the mobile. Even iPhone now we are exporting to the world as well, right? Yeah, but then we have to go steps more, right? Again the same thing, you can see that, who we are, which are the companies who have contributed most in India, right? So Foxconn, Pentagon, Wistern. Now Wistern is now taken by so these are the manufacturers, right, in India, who are putting this PLI scheme. Now these, again, why I am telling you all these things, right? Because these companies, when they are in India, they are having, any companies have a lot of problems, right? And to solve a problem, they are entrepreneurship, right? If you understand what problems they are facing, and in a particular way localized problem that has to be solved locally. If you understand and solve them, then there is a business for that. We'll see there. So, but if you see ESDM, right, they are concentrated over here. One of the challenges, see, economy was rising at few places, more here, right? But ESDM manufacture is concentrated in this state, right? Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, right? UP, Noida, right? There are some things. So it has to spread for most of us. So the marketing has to focus over here. So again, one of the okay, so I will stop, and I have given this answer. Maybe somebody, why is government? There is a question, and they say, why is government focusing on so much of electronic manufacturing right now? I think I gave the answer in the beginning, right? We have no other options other than to manufacture electronics in India and semiconductor in India. If you don't want to, electronics is the next thing which any you don't need hundreds of army to kill you, right? You just need few electronics. You have seen that, right? In Israel, what blasted, right? They just the pager bomb, right? Similarly, if you are, if you don't make your own, and if you keep on getting supply from enemies countries, another thing. So economic is also saying that we are consuming a lot of electronics. For that also we should manufacture in India, otherwise our trade balance will, our money will go away, right? Our money is still not able to control money compared to US dollar. That's one aspect. Second is that your security is in concern, biggest thing, right? If you don't manufacture in India, right, if somebody stops supplying something to you during the time of war or maybe before that, everything can be grounded. So it is very much because everything is now becoming electronics. That's the reason. So economics is one thing. If you want to have a trade balance, if you don't want your money, rupees to against a dollar to go, from bad to worst, we have to do this. And if we don't also want to be secure, then we have to do this. These are the two aspects. Okay. So these are the ESDM line factors. If someone is trying to manufacture something, some PCB, some board, some electronic system, these are the area, these are the companies who are manufacturing. We have to focus over there. Okay. Okay. So this is one thing, and let me now go to here. Now, many of you have seen that it's a semiconductor in India, which is a big. I will tell you one story. When I started my career and started a career in semiconductors and used to, there were only few companies from US and other thing and Europe. The one question, why in India? Why can't we do it in India? The question was. Uh, 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 so there is a question for Sumant. I have the answer for you. Please wait. In the last, I will give you some areas where you can capitalize on the growth of ESDM sector. Okay. Yeah. So there was a question where that India we cannot do semiconductor, and everybody believed that. The biggest leader of Indian companies, they believe no, India cannot do semiconductor. How it is possible? No, we are poor country. Our universities are not geared up. We don't do latest research and other things. But then, when you have will, nothing can surpass your will. And you can see in such a short time how many companies, 7 companies are already in India, right, which are doing. Yes, not everybody is manufacturing. Some are doing packaging and some are doing manufacturing also. But soon and we have already manufacturing few things, right? But definitely not in the latest and technique. You can see that 28 nanometer, 40 nanometers we will start. But then there are some higher nodes, right? Higher nodes where we are already manufacturing some of the things. So you can see from where to where we have come in just few years, maybe just 4 to 5 years, right? So, and then we are again, and there is a reason for that, all the reasons that I have been, and these are the companies. So people from Gujarat, this is becoming the hub. If Bangalore is a hub for IT and other fabulous things, right? Gujarat is now becoming the hub for our semiconductor manufacturing. So when it is a hub, what do you think? Only these people, the semiconductor industry will grow, Again, I said that everybody, where there is a problem, there is a business, right? What are the problem they are facing, what they will face? I will talk about some of the problems and where we can intercept as an entrepreneur. What are the things that you can? But then these areas you have to figure it out what you can do, right? And you have seen that, right? Everybody is in semiconductor. Nobody talks below billion, right? So when billion of dollar is flowing, right? Any small, even a small bit of biscuit that comes to your mouth will be, in millions, right? So it is much lucrative than any other business that is possible in India, right? So yes, definitely you have to find out certain ways, and there is not very difficult. I would not say that it is huge. Definitely everything is. If you go to even selling a paper, at the end of the paper there are molecules, and at the end of the molecule there are atoms. So should I be afraid, oh my god, I don't know atoms, so I cannot sell a paper? No. Similarly is that, why do we think that semiconductor is a huge technology, right? People, if you see countries like Vietnam, Taiwan, Philippines, now they are solving problems. Why can't we? It's such a huge talent pool, right? We are much smarter, we can do that, right? So only thing was, it needed some push. We were on the low esteem that we cannot do it. Now when that low esteem is removed, now we are flying. We see how many companies, and many more companies are lined up, for your information, right? So this is where the semiconductor manufacturing, which was unthinkable whole my life, I spent that, in India we cannot do it. We are poor country, we don't have technology and other thing, and now we have suddenly five. So it's a huge opportunity for all the people, right? And huge opportunity for all the entrepreneurs are there, right? So next, I have given this one which state, so I will not go to that. I will skip these slides. I have already sent some data over there, which state is doing what. I have given some pictorial view, right? Now, somebody asked, right, which are the areas where ESDM and other thing people can play with. So this slide could be more, you can see the yellow one, easily ventured into highlighted area with low capital, right? So again, you can do many things based on how much funding you can create, right? If you have crores, crore, more than maybe 100 200 crores, a lot of things you can do. But at low capital investments, right, what are the things that you can do, right? These are the some of the areas that I have highlighted, but many other people are doing other things. But in my view, please, again, I said it as in the beginning, right? Please take my wisdom with a pinch of salt. I am not an entrepreneur. I am just giving you what I have seen, right? So it is, one is energy meter and smart meter, right? Now someone can question, right, that these are the government things and other thing. If you see, every state government have the initiative that if someone locally manufactured for them, right, they will give some of their meter contracts, some percentage of meter contract to those entrepreneurs. And I will tell you, this is one of the easiest thing that you can make, right? Companies are there who are making IC, they are giving you the design. You can take up and manufacture it in ESDM, qualify that product, right, and get it in the market. Not only that, there are industries, right, who require meters. Someone wants to monitor how is my motor consuming, how much my havoc consuming, how much my this machine consuming. Everybody wants small meters, to energy meter, to measure it, right? There is a huge market. Not only that, home is a market. Definitely Indian homes, 140 billion people are living. We have energy meter requirement. Now every energy meter is becoming smart now, right? Because now nobody wants to go and get the meter reading done and then hit by the people who don't want to pay, right? So you can, over the air they are getting it. So this is one of the area, right? Definitely TV is again a big consumer area, and lot of innovations and you can make over here. But this require little LED and CCTV, little more investment is there. But this is a good area where CCTV in India is a huge rising, hugely rising. Every shop, every home is trying to put it CCTV. And again, as I said, right, you don't have to be expert in CCTV to make it, right? There are suppliers, you go and tell them, They are giving you the chip, they are giving you the design, they are giving you the software. They are saying you just manufacture and take my chip, right? So you can do that, right? So this, and similarly, one area, sorry, I could not, maybe this is one very big area for me. LED lighting and decorative, right, and festive. I will tell you, this is one of the area where no everybody is ignoring, and China is eating the pie. In India, do you know what is the LED? In one of the, it is very difficult to get the data, but somehow I got it. The decorative and festive lighting, right? I'm not talking about the consumable that you use in the house. Decorative and festive lighting in India, it is a $4 billion market, right? And everything is coming from China, right? We can manufacture in India. Not only that, manufacture, you have to, this is a huge, see there again, I am telling you, there are some products which have localized market, right? Localized market means only if you do it locally, you can do it, right? If Ganesha is sold in Maharashtra, it will not be sold in Bengal. If Durga is sold in Bengal, see, if you make something festive decorative with a Durga or a Ganesha, it will be very localized market, it cannot go across the thing. So China cannot intervene and invade there if you do that, right? And this is with controllers, with so much of lightings, with so much. This is a huge market which anybody can intercept, right? So we need to intercept. So some there was a question. Like so there were question in ESDM, what are the things that we can play? So these are the area which we can intercept with a very low capital. Similarly, then automotive spares, as I told you, in automotive, there are big manufacturers, they are coming up with all good EV and other thing, but then one thing is getting ignored: who will supply the spares, right? Not everybody is going to the authorized service center to buy the spares, right? You will get the mechanical spare, but who is going to supply the spare for the this? So we do not have to. So there is a huge market coming up, not only already started, and if someone is there for the first time, he will have an advantage as a supplier of these spares in the electronics industry. So these are the some of the area in what I felt. Uh, we as an entrepreneur we can intercept. Now I'm getting almost around the hour, so I will try to highlight and close some of these. Let me see that. So now again, as I said, right, that there are in semiconductor, somebody asked me uh, important there is a question: how important is it for India to develop its own domestic semiconductor rather than relying on import? I think this question is answered, Ankit. It is very important for economics perspective, that we have to have a trade balance, and second, for our security needs, it is very important. Now in semiconductor industry, there are 4 different segments in India which we should look at, right? And where any entrepreneur can start and finding out a problem there and solve this. If you can solve some of the problems, you are. So there are companies like fabless companies. Now these fabless companies take the EDA tool. EDA means electronical design and automation tools, and design the chip. Now most of the Bangalore is all about the fabless chip design company, right? In India so far, we have been designing it and then sending all the design thing to the foundry which were outside. Now certain foundry are also coming in India, right? Then there were company who were like Intel and others, we were IDM, right? So no, there are only few company that is aspiring in India to become for now. So we can ignore this, who is designing and manufacturing as of now, no. But then there are a lot of, as I showed that in the Gujarat area and in Assam area, there are a lot of company. This is a big field for India, OSAT, right? Where we take the chip and package it. You can see there are packaging, you can connecting the wire to the chips, right? So this type of packaging, and then when you take the package, you have to test it, you have to do there are some test equipment required, check jig required, PCB to test those required, manpower to require those things. So this is the ecosystem of the semiconductor, and a lot of area can be played into. Okay, so I will just quickly finish and then open up for the question and answer. So we have, so just you, as you know, that in the chip industry we have a design, then we chip fabrication, then assembly. So these are the fabless, foundry, and OSAT teams that we call, right? And in this area there are a huge lot of problems, and in that problem we can lot of people can play the role. Let's see. So I have spoken about the area of ESDM where we can play, and I will also speak about, in the chip manufacturing where we can play. Maybe I'm rushing through. Okay. So as I have spoken, I will skip this map. This is again showing how chip is made, how package is made, and how systems are made, and then how to reach the customers. So everywhere there are problem to be solved, and entrepreneur can play, and they are looking for people, to the there for this one. Some companies, if you can form to test it, right? There is a scope for testing. If you can use test packaging, there is scope for. You won't believe, in India, in Gujarat only, I don't remember, Ahmedabad, somebody maybe 10 years back, he opened up a packaging company. Nobody, even government, have not thought about it, but he opened up, and now he is successful. For 10 years he has to struggle, but now he is successful, right? So there are area, and on top of this, one big area is everything require human resources, right? So training for these things, that is also a big problem. Companies are, why do you think that semiconductor company is paying so much for its people, right? Why everybody, there is a mad rush to develop career in semiconductor? Because there are not people everywhere. There is not people for this, there is not people for this, there is not people for this. And if you learn something, right, something, I'm not saying everything, something, there is a huge scope. So again, training, and this is a big entrepreneur scope where people can jump in and do it, right? So these are some of the companies. I will not go in an ecosystem. These are just to say that what the ecosystem is, and entrepreneur can take up some of the places. See, not only the manufacturing and engineering is entrepreneur. If you develop a marketing company, if you can solve the supply chain problem, which these companies are having, that is also a entrepreneurship, right? So you can see these are the manufacturer use I have spoken about, right? IDM means those who design and manufacture them themselves. Then there are fabulous companies, right? And these companies are given by, material is required. So material, capital, equipment, and then tools, right? Software tools, that design CAD tools are required to make this. There is a huge ecosystem of CAD tool, and many startup are developing, small tools which are much. And if you see, there are very less companies